Welcome everybody to Just Kicking It. Another fantastic day of World Cup football. Goals galore as normal, something we've gotten accustomed to in this World Cup so far. It's just been goal after goal after goal, and today was no different. The most recent game would have been Serbia taking on Switzerland, and that was the mother of all comebacks, as you would have seen in the caption for this video. Switzerland, they had a goal in the 52nd and the 90th minute of their game, and those two goals basically did away with the opening goal of the match, which the Serbs scored in just the 5th minute of the game. Alexander Mitrovic had a perfectly timed header, went into the back of the net, gave Serbia a very crucial early lead, but it was sort of squandered if you look at it from the way any football fan would look at that game. The game went back in favour of Switzerland very quickly, and then in the 52nd minute you had Granit Xhaka blasting a ball in from about 25 yards, making it look very simple. And then in the 90th minute, very last moment of the game, Xherdan Shaqiri, he made it 2-1 and stole all 3 points from the Serbs. Now what this means is that the game that was played between Brazil and Costa Rica also had a little bit of an impact in how the group stands. Brazil and Costa Rica played today, and it was looking for one moment like it was going to end 0-0, or maybe Costa Rica may have just sneaked away with a victory and surprised the Brazilians. But then a lot happened in that game. There was a penalty that almost went the way of Brazil in the 79th minute. Then the referee decided to check with VAR, the video assistant referee, and it was decided that that penalty was not to be. So they overturned that decision, and it was looking like Brazil were going straight into a 0-0 draw, and perhaps the first 0-0 draw of this entire tournament, but it was not to be. They added on 7 minutes, and in those 7 minutes Brazil scored twice. Amazing stuff. It was looking like it was going to end 0-0, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, they had goals coming in. Neymar slotted in the final goal, which was in the 97th minute, and then they had Philippe Coutinho scoring that first goal. And it meant so much to Brazil, seeing the position that they were in that game. That goal meant so much to Brazil that their manager, Tite, was rolling on the ground. Literally, I'm not joking, he was rolling on the ground celebrating that goal. And that goes to show how much Brazilians treasured that particular moment. Yes, Neymar came in and he rounded off what was, in the end, a simple victory, but it was such a weird game. I mean, Neymar almost got in some trouble for diving. There was a lot of acting going on in that game, and it was a very interesting game to look at, especially from the point of view of a neutral. Someone like me, I would have gone in there backing Costa Rica to win, seeing that they are our CONCACAF colleagues and neighbors, but Brazil stole that victory. How that leaves Group D is that group is still wide open. So Group D, from that group, either Brazil, the Switzerland team, or the Serbs can still qualify, and that group is wide open. So it'll take basically coming down to the very last game or the last round of matches for this group to figure out who goes where. The other game that took place today was Nigeria versus Iceland, and me personally, I was backing the underdogs. I honestly thought that Iceland had it in them to go on and win, but looking at the statistics and the history of Nigeria, it's a very funny stat, very specific stat as well, but they went into this match having never lost or drawn against a European World Cup debutant. So every time they played a World Cup debutant from the Europe area in the World Cup, they never lost. In fact, they won all. And this game today ended 2-0, which means that they're still on a winning streak against these European World Cup debutants. Nigeria 2, Iceland 0. Looking at the first half and how things were going, it seemed as though Iceland would have been the one to break the deadlock, maybe even go on and win the game, but that was not to be. There's a man, his name is floating around now, and he's no stranger to Russian soil. His name is Ahmed Musa. Now, Ahmed Musa is signed to Leicester City, but at this moment, he plays for CSK in Moscow, in Russia. So he's very familiar with the territory, very familiar with the atmosphere, very familiar with the grounds that they may be playing on, and he scored twice. Nigeria came out with a vengeance in the second half. The first half wasn't looking good for them. They were all over the place, not getting a lot of possession of the ball, that kind of thing. And in the second half, they just came out and went absolutely mental. They were passing quickly. They were looking like they were gelling as a unit. And then they got those 2 goals from Ahmed Musa. This means that the race for second place in Group D will go down to the last game on the 26th of June. Nigeria won all their games, like I said, against these European World Cup debutants. For the Argentine fans, now I know there are a lot of you looking on this video and hoping that there's some good news for Argentina. Well, there is. Basically, because of this result, Argentina can still qualify if they beat Nigeria in that final game and if Iceland loses or draws with Croatia. Now, if that does not happen, Argentina still happens to win, but Iceland also wins. It'll come down to goal difference. Both teams will end up on 4 points, and it will really come down to whether or not Argentina can win by a big margin. Because as it stands now, Iceland have a slim advantage in terms of goal difference. Their goal difference is a little bit better than the Argentines. So, a lot of very, very interesting things happening in the World Cup. We don't know how it's going to pan out just yet, because things have been very, very strange throughout this entire tournament. Tomorrow we have a few other very interesting games to look at. Germany will be playing, Korea will be playing as well, a few teams playing. So these are the games that are going to take place. Belgium are going to play Tunisia at 8 a.m. Belgium are first in their group, Tunisia third. Korea will play Mexico, that game is at 11 a.m. Korea are last in their group and Mexico are second. And Germany will be playing Sweden. Sweden are top of their group, Germany third in their group and sort of on the back foot, and will be hoping to come out and play some pretty good football, because I tell you what, their supporters will be hoping that that is the case and that they do play some very good football. So until tomorrow, that's it for Just Kicking It. It was a pleasure as usual, and you can look out for another episode of Just Kicking It tomorrow.